Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
When shopping for your family's meals, do you know where you can find Alaska-grown products? Everywhere. They're available at your local grocery stores and farmers markets across the state. Alaska-grown products are fresher and more nutritious, and buying local helps grow our economy. So just look for the Alaska-grown label when you shop, or ask your grocer where the Alaska-grown products are. Remember, Alaska-grown. It's closer, fresher, better.
And it's all Alaska-grown.
The National Weather Service.
Hello everyone, and thanks for being here for this Sunday's edition of Alaska Weather. I'm Dave Percy, a meteorologist for the National Weather Service. And show times again, 5:30 right now for APB and ARCS, and then beginning tomorrow, September 19th, coming back to 5:30 for KUAC there, Fairbanks on 9.4. And of course, 360 north, 7:30 p.m. And then the following morning for Alaska Public Media, which would be this show, will be shown tomorrow at 5 a.m. Moving on to advisories, we've got them again today here along the Arctic coast, high surf advisory, and that's for tonight. 10-foot waves and tides about 1 foot above normal there. So that's going to continue with those gusty west winds that were kicking up over 50 miles an hour along the eastern Arctic coast today at times. And those are going to start subsiding later tonight and tomorrow and kind of get more variable and lighter on Tuesday. So that advisory coming down after tonight. And we have a high surf advisory also down here along the southwest coast, Nunivak Island and the Kuskokwim Delta coast. That's for tomorrow afternoon, continuing through Tuesday as a pretty strong front and strong southerly winds, 40 to 60 miles an hour in gusts move into the area there. So looking for seas to come up to about 6 to 8 feet in those areas, and that'll create some high surf along the coast there as well. And then this area here, that's a high wind watch, and that is for the period starting Tuesday evening and continuing through Wednesday for the Anchorage Hillside and portions of western Prince William Sound, as that front that's going to bring the strong winds tomorrow into the southwest coast. That'll shift eastward and push them in across south central Alaska, actually all of southern Alaska from Kodiak Island. And looking for 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts for the higher elevations, or 30 to 40 mile an hour winds with gusts above 60 miles per hour there for the higher elevations, but probably less than 90 miles per hour. Moving on to satellite imagery. Yesterday, still had this weak upper trough here off the coast that kept the showers in and clouds across the panhandle, breaking out here over the eastern interior areas, and a band of rain coming up Cook Inlet and then breaking out behind that. More rain back out here to the west with low pressure there over the southwest coast, and Arctic front dropping southeastward, bringing some gusty winds, a little bit of snow, and cooler temperatures up here to the north, mostly north of the Brooks Range, and out to the west, a lot of clouds associated with that next storm. Developing out there and pushing in towards Shimya. They were already yesterday at this time getting winds to 50 miles an hour. And we'll see today that front past Shimya now, heading into the eastern Aleutians now. ADAC picked up about 0.6 of an inch of rain today with that front and winds gusting to about 50 miles an hour. And also picking up there for Atka Island. The Pribilofs now, St. Paul, St. George, seeing southeast winds in the 25 gusts, 30, 35 mile per hour range this afternoon, with just clouds spreading in there and warm front precipitation though here along the southwest coast, and pretty light though, and extending back up towards St. Lawrence Island and breaking out a little bit there from Amchitka, then getting back into the windy conditions with some showers there towards Shemya with the main low center. And that front that came down from the north actually dropped down to about this position today, quite weak. But you can see as it moves in there kind of breaking up. But that kept cloudy skies with scattered showers, areas of light rain through this area. About 1/10 of an inch falling in some areas along that stretch of the state there. Sunshine here south of the mountains, Susitna Valley, all the way down to the Gulf of Alaska. Kodiak Island back into Bristol Bay, clearing out nicely there over the Copper River Basin. And showers hanging on to the panhandle, but decreasing there little by little, but taking their time to end as most of the moisture either dropping off to the southeast or pushing off into Canada. And then Arctic low up there that's well to the north, close enough though to give those gusty winds along the Arctic coast there with gale warnings out up in that area. And again, a few light snow showers. We really didn't see anything too significant fall. More of a wind producer than a precipitation maker there with that main batch of moisture farther up to the north there toward the low center. And then this weak front here right through there bringing the showers in. Again, about 1/10 of an inch falling in some locations along this boundary off to the east. And the good sunshine here down to the south this afternoon. Temperatures rising into the well into the 50s, some cases the mid-60s. And again, scattered showers with the southeast coast. Out to the west, there's a position roughly of that warm front spreading some light rain into the southwest coast there, a few showers off to the east, and heading up towards St. Lawrence Island. Again, winds picking up over the Pribilofs and even stronger here, gale force winds out to the west there with rain. And we'll see for tonight that pushes eastward. So those gales sliding on into the eastern Aleutians, south up across the Pribilofs there with rain moving in, also up to St. Lawrence Island, occasional rain and increasing south to southeast winds with this warm front precipitation and the warmer air pushing up across the Seward Peninsula up toward, well, Kotzebue, and then maybe probably cutting off at Kivalina by late tonight. Arctic coast, still pretty windy there, especially the central and eastern coast, but all diminishing now later tonight, especially after midnight. Still a few flurries, maybe some patchy fog, but nothing very significant. We've got 1,022 millibar high now built in over the eastern Tanana Valley, 40-mile country, but still some lost showers here, leftover moisture still in the area there underneath that high center with mostly cloudy skies, but very nice evening coming up for Prince William Sound. All of south central Alaska here back down to Kodiak Island, as well as up over the north central interior as well in the upper Yukon. And now look for some clearing with showers just lingering, a lingering shower over the southern southeast coast there, as again the upper trough pulling off to the southeast a little bit. And for tomorrow, partly to mostly sunny in the north, call it partly to mostly cloudy or partly sunny down south. Still some lingering showers there around the Hyder-Stewart area, but nothing significant. That's about it. Otherwise, sunshine tomorrow. South central Alaska, increasing clouds up to the Alaska Range here and locally into Kodiak Island, but dry conditions from Bristol Bay all the way up to that warm front there cutting across the north central part of the state with strong winds, gale force winds here across the Alaska Peninsula, right up the west coast there all the way into Kotzebue Sound with rain moderate to heavy at times, mainly along the Alaska Peninsula. But you'll get a good shot of rain, some solid rain onto the southwest coast, breaking out, winds diminishing here across the Pribilofs behind the front coming into Nikolsky. Gusty winds, small craft advisory winds with a lot of showers there over the Aleutians and the Bering Sea. And the whole high center now shifting off to the east. So we'll see on Tuesday that frontal boundary pushes eastward and there's a kind of a narrow area of some pretty heavy rain coming up to Kodiak Island along with some pretty heavy wind as well. And good gales right up into southern Cook Inlet, rain spreading in across the Kenai Peninsula in the afternoon, Prince William Sound, mainly the western areas, with clouds on the increase even over the eastern interior, probably some high stuff moving across the area there, with rain right up the frontal boundary there into the Koyukuk Valley and then expanding eastward there along the southern slopes of the Brooks Range. Warmer air now, so that's going to fall mostly in the form of rain Could start out a little mixed there north of the Brooks Range, but these amounts aren't going to be too terribly significant at all. Showers back behind with a lot lighter winds here, Kotzebue Sound southward into Bristol Bay. And this low center coming northward, this is actually with the high pressure here over the eastern Gulf of Alaska, kind of built up in toward the Copper River Basin. That's the perfect setup for strong winds here across south central Alaska. And that's why that high wind warning is out, kicking into effect Tuesday evening through Wednesday as this low center tracks northward. And it really depends on how it tracks northward and the orientation of the pressure gradient and the position of the front. But right now, again, could see gusts 60 to maybe 80 miles per hour here across the higher elevations, again Tuesday evening through Wednesday. And also this band of heavy rain will shift eastward and start affecting the southern Kenai Peninsula on up into Prince William Sound for the middle of the week. And back out to the west, just gusty west-southwest winds here for the Aleutians. Lots of showers up to the Pribilofs there, that main low center well southwest of St. Lawrence Island. And the southeast coast, mostly sunny right up into the eastern interior areas. And for the temperatures down that way today, mostly in the mid to upper 50s across the area. Early to mid-afternoon readings here with 58 at Yakutat, Juneau 54, 57 there at Sitka, with 59 at Klawock. Up across the Copper River Basin, McCarthy at observation time 64 degrees, but they topped out at 67. That was a warm spot in the state today. 62 Cordova. Valdez came in with 58. Big Lake 62. And several readings to sit in the valley, also in the Anchorage area, into the lower 60s today. Homer 54. Right around, actually, Kodiak did push up to 61 after this observation here. 52 in Northway. Cool 40s there for the central Tanana Valley, and even cooler back to the west into the upper 30s. And to the north, Fort Yukon 43, Bettles 39. And Arctic Coast North Slope in the 30s, 36 Kivalina, 39 Shishmaref, Kotzebue right at 40, 42 in Nome, 47 today in McGrath, Sleep Mute up to 52, Bethel 51, lower 50s across the Yukon Delta with 39 there at Wales, lower 50s for the Pribilofs today, 50s Bristol Bay, Alaska Peninsula, all the way out to Shimia. And for the lows tonight, 40s out in this area here, lower 40s southwest part of the state, 20s to lower 30s here, eastern interior to teens across the Brooks Range, and then back into the lower 30s for the Arctic coast. And for the highs for tomorrow, again, 55 to 62 here, sit in the valley, south central Alaska, back down on the lee side of the Aleutian Range there, King Salmon, Chignik, Pilot Point into the lower 60s, 50s back to the west. Flying weather, IFR heading eastward here across the Pribilofs late tonight, early tomorrow morning, approaching the eastern Aleutians, sliding on into the west central interior here with that band of marginal stuff through the Tanana Valley. And we'll see tomorrow afternoon that whole area advances eastward with IFR making landfall along the coast from Cape Newenham up to the southern coast of the Seward Peninsula. Again, by tomorrow afternoon, IFR also increasing, that moisture streaming northward there in the southern slopes of the Brooks Range, but VFR here, south and southeast coast. For passes, Anatuvik, VFR becoming IFR as that moisture moves on in. Same forecast for Adigan. Lake Clark and Merrill, good VFR tomorrow, rainy, open. Windy, Celine's visibility is unlimited, as it will be for Isabel and Mentasta and Tanita and Portage. Chilcoot and White, VFR. For the freezing levels at the surface here late tonight up over the northeast interior on out to the Arctic coast. Warmer air nudging northward, riding in on those increasing southerly winds, rising up to 10,000 feet here toward the eastern Aleutians. And looking at the icing threat, it'll be in this area if there's any at all tomorrow. There probably will be here, maybe some occasional widespread moderate in these more orange shaded areas here with icing possibilities spreading up across the Brooks Range and the North Slope with icing free conditions over the interior down across the Panhandle. And looking at the jet stream here, high pressure building up into the interior with that south to north flow here at about 120 knots, that directing most of the energy northward, but the entire pattern shifting eastward, and so that strong front will push in across south central Alaska tomorrow or tomorrow night and actually Tuesday, into Tuesday and Tuesday night, and some good westerlies at about 110 knots there on the eastern Arctic coast. And for 9,000 feet, for tomorrow, 65 knots blowing across the Alaska Peninsula, 45 to 50 up toward Norton Sound, then kind of diverging here, splitting southwesterlies 20 to 30 up across the North Slope. Good westerlies there across the southern Bering Sea, light winds for the Panhandle, 3,000-foot winds, south to north, 45 to maybe 55, up in toward Kuskokwim Bay, turning south-southeast at about 30 knots there, Norton Sound, Seward Peninsula. Lighter winds over the eastern interior closer to the high, light winds for the southeast coast, westerlies 25 to 40 for the Aleutians. Turbulence, possible severe here, below 4,000 to 6,000 feet. Alaska Peninsula, also along the southwest coast, roughly a Monix, say Makoriak, on down to Kipnuk there, with moderate chop right up into the southern Chukchi Sea, and then light to isolated moderate for the Aleutians. And after the break, I'll be back to look at the marine forecasts.
With extraordinary swiftness, severe weather descends on many communities each year. Hundreds of lives are lost to tornadoes, violent thunderstorms, hurricanes, and flash floods, forever changing the lives of survivors.
Is anybody in there?
For the protection of life and property, the National Weather Service communicates severe weather and flood watches and warnings through a network of over 500 local broadcasting stations. NOAA Weather Radio is the voice of the National Weather Service. Since severe weather is a constant threat, NOAA Weather Radio is on the air 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, broadcasting current hazard alerts to the public as soon as they are issued by the National Weather Service. This was witnessed firsthand by the residents of Shreveport, Louisiana.
Looks like we're picking up some rotation. Southwest Caddo Parish, about 10 miles south-southwest of the airport. I got 50 knots in this, so it looks pretty bad. So I think we need to go ahead and transmit a warning. Tornado warning, yeah.
National Weather Service in Shreveport has issued a tornado warning effective until 3 p.m. Central Standard Time for people in the following location.
We saw the tornado crossing the street over here, approximately half a mile from us, heading this way.
It was like we could reach out and we could just touch it. It was right there on the other side of the field. It seemed like it was just right there. And we literally watched the tornado go all the way down the street.
We hit the outside of the window, and the windows came bursting out. I thought I would die. I thought that was it.
We have a weather alert radio in our front administrative offices, and it had sounded approximately 3 to 5 minutes before that, stating that a tornado had been spotted at the airport, and helped us be somewhat prepared.
Thanks to those guys at the Weather Service working 24 hours a day, they probably helped save some lives out here in our development.
Unlike the all-too-common outcome of tornadoes or other hazardous weather, not a single life was lost to this storm in Shreveport.
The man who lived in the trailer that was right here in Jasper County, Mississippi, wouldn't be alive were it not for a weather radio similar to this one. The same is true for the old couple in their 80s who lived in that house over there. They were warned because of weather radio to move from one section of it to the other. The roof of this trailer went through the section where they weren't.
It said that they had spotted a tornado 16 miles south of Bay Springs.
Little 11-year-old Sabrina Duckworth of Moss in Jasper County heard the storm was coming on weather radio and told her mother, who called neighbors. So that weather radio saved his life.
It saved all of our lives.
Even a few minutes of warning can mean the difference between life and death, which is what NOAA Weather Radio is all about. But it doesn't stop there. NOAA Weather Radio is not just for emergencies. Round-the-clock weather reports and other information help you prepare for the day ahead. Routine programming is repeated every few minutes, including local forecasts, regional conditions, and marine forecasts. Additional information, such as river levels and climatic data, is also provided to the listeners. At home, at work, in the car, or outdoors, You never need to be without up-to-the-minute weather information. NOAA weather radio receivers come in many sizes with a wide range of functions so they can be used in many different situations. Receivers are available as standalone units or as a feature on AM/FM, shortwave, CB, scanner, aviation, or marine radios. Receivers with visual alarms provide an added feature that makes the radios beneficial for the deaf or hard of hearing. Look for NOAA weather radio receivers at most stores that sell electronics. Make sure the one you select has the following features: the capability of receiving all 7 NOAA weather radio frequencies, battery backup power, and a tone alarm feature which can be programmed to sound an alarm the moment it receives a live broadcast of a hazard watch or warning. Even with your TV or radio turned off, a tone alarm NOAA weather radio receiver will let you know that a hazard is developing or occurring in your listening area. Some NOAA weather radio receivers come with a feature known as SAME, Specific Area Message Encoding. SAME-equipped receivers allow you to program your radio's alarm to sound only when a warning is issued for specific counties and specific hazard warnings, which you choose. With this feature enabled, you won't have to be bothered by alarms for areas too far away to immediately affect you. NOAA weather radio stations currently serve about 80 to 90% of the nation's population. Through partnerships with private sector organizations and state and local governments, new NOAA weather radio stations will become available to areas not currently served by National Weather Service broadcasts. To help ensure that critical weather information is available when you need it most, the National Weather Service is striving to make tone alarm NOAA weather radios as commonplace as smoke detectors, present in all homes, businesses, places of worship, any place where people gather. Time after time, advanced notice of severe weather has proven to be a lifesaver.
West winds have pushed some ice in close to the coast here, Point Franklin on up to Barrow, with some of that kind of streaming eastward. I think up to about 11 miles east of Barrow there off the coast, with the winds becoming lighter later tonight and tomorrow and for a couple of days. This is probably going to stay in place and not change much for the next 3, 4, maybe 5 days. Light winds here along the southeast coast tomorrow, northwest 10, 6-foot seas. On the north coast, becoming north to northeast at about 15 down to the south. Northwest 15 for Clarence Strait, becoming northerly at 15 for our Lynn Canal. We'll swing around to the south, pick up to 20 knots on Tuesday there for northern Lynn Canal. Otherwise, the remainder in inside waters, northwest 10 to 15. And light variable winds on the north coast, northwest 10 to 15 on the south coast. Seas 5 to 6 feet really have laid down. And for Prince William Sound, Cook Inlet, and the North Gulf Coast tomorrow, light variable winds under high pressure. Seas just 2 to 5 feet. And southwest 15 for Kamishak Bay. Southwest 20, Kodiak Island, seas 5 to 7 feet there. And then on Monday, change here. Good gales coming into Kodiak Island probably tomorrow night, continuing through Tuesday. Dropping back to 30 knots for Shelikof Strait, but southeast 35 to 40 right up into Kamishak Bay. Gales out for southern Cook Inlet, 20 knots for Prince William Sound. For Bristol Bay tomorrow, south winds coming up to 30 knots. Good gales here right across the Alaska Peninsula, 45 knots, 12 to 17 foot seas, and winds on the increase here southwest of Kodiak Island. And then for Tuesday, we've got storm force southerlies now from Sitkinak to Castle Cape. Behind the front west, 35 knots, Castle Cape to Cape Sarachev. Much lighter here on the north side of the peninsula, coming down to 20 knots. and kind of a range here right across Bristol Bay, southeast, maybe gale force here on the east side, and then dropping back, becoming southwest down to 20 knots off to the west, especially into the afternoon. And for the Fox Islands, early tomorrow, 45 knots southerlies. The gales come in there tonight, and then tomorrow morning shift eastward, and tomorrow afternoon those winds come down south or west to southwest, 25 knots to 30 knots to back to gales there for the western Aleutians. Small craft advisories for all of the Aleutians on Tuesday with 25 to 30 knot winds and 10 to 13 foot seas. For the southwest coast, gale force southerlies tomorrow as that front approaches. Southwest coming down to 25 knots for the Pribilof, southeast 30 St. Lawrence Island, and then lighter winds in store for Tuesday. South to southwest 20 to 25 knots, southwest 25 for the Pribilof, southeast 25 for St. Matthew Island. Up along the Arctic coast, lighter winds tomorrow, but still small craft advisories there from the central coast to Demarcation Point, all out of the west, and east to southeast through this area, and then southwest through here. And winds get even lighter and become a little more squirrely a little bit here, south to southwest, 15 to 20 on the eastern Beaufort Sea coast. Small craft advisories from Cape Beaufort on down toward the Bering Strait. And for tonight again, high pressure, light winds, fair skies, showers about gone in the Panhandle, strong front pushing gales into the eastern Aleutians up across the Pribilofs. Warm front pushing rain and warmer temperatures northward to the Berks Range tomorrow. Now gales here along the west coast there with good rain over the Alaska Peninsula all the way up to the northwest interior. Sunshine over the east and sunny for the southeast coast on Tuesday. Strong winds here, Kodiak Island, this whole thing coming into south central Alaska Tuesday.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Alyeska Pipeline Service Company, fueling philanthropic programs and dedicated to creating educational and professional opportunities for Alaska Native people.
I have twin boys, Ethan and August, and they're about 1.5 years old right now. It's fun to spend time with them and kind of see the world through their eyes. Well, I grew up watching PBS shows like Sesame Street and The Electric Company,